Sean Ross Sapp, Showdown Joe, FightfulMMA.com. Holy Smokes MMA podcast. We got UFC 227 coming up this week, Joe. TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt 2, Mighty Mouse, Cejudo 2. First off, what is your pay-per-view buy prediction?
Well, you educated me last week or 2 weeks ago regarding information that I had not been paying attention to for quite some time, which is the UFC pay-per-view buy rates based on what I used to remember them being back in my Sportsnet days. And remember, that was 2014 when that ended. So that was 3-4 years ago in comparison to what they are now and how low they have become. And I started asking some questions and asking around and trying to figure out potentially why. And I've got my own theories. So I don't even know what to tell you, especially now with the UFC Calgary ratings apparently being extremely low, or the lowest potentially ever for a UFC on Fox show, with a card that was that stacked, quote unquote, MMA bubble inside the MMA bubble stacked. I don't even know what to tell you what this pay-per-view number would be. I mean, I think the standard right now from about a week or two ago, what you mentioned to me was the standard you want to hit is somewhere in the 300 to 350,000.
Yeah, I mean, that 200 to 300,000 would be a good day for them these days, it seems like.
So if that's the case, and that was what, with the heavyweight championship of the world on the line, then again, with a champion that the vast majority of people outside the MMA bubble don't know who is, except for Daniel Cormier, and he ends up winning the title, and they got something in the 300,000s?
What, Cormier?
The Cormier Stipe Miocic card?
I think it was the high 300,000, yes.
Okay, so you're looking now at TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt, a fantastic rematch that I don't know anybody outside of the window to my right would know of in my circle, in my area. Demetrius Johnson, greatest mixed martial artist potentially right now of all time, in a rematch with a Olympic caliber or Olympic gold medalist. Rematch. Fantastic event for me, just on those two fights alone.
Yeah, I love the event. I mean, you got Dillashaw, Garbrandt, Jonathan Cejudo, and then after that,
Betch Correa's on this card.
Oh, she's on the prelims. FX prelims at that. But you got Swanson Moicano. Then it's Kevin Holland and Thiago Santos and Polyana Viana and JJ Aldrich. And it's like, oh, man.
Shorty Torres is on this card. But
yeah, but he's on the prelims. The prelims. And, I mean, after this, maybe he gets a push if he wins. But
yeah, but think about this. From a mainstream perspective, okay, not from a we're inside the mixed martial arts bubble perspective. From a mainstream perspective, do you think people are dying to order this pay-per-view, or you know what, let's get together and get to the bar so we can get good seats to watch this pay-per-view?
It's deflating, man. And I have the night off. I'll be doing wedding-related stuff. James Lynch is doing the post show. And it's like, I'm not curious about about most of these fights. I don't think TJ Dillashaw should be giving or should have to fight Garbrandt again. Cejudo, sure. But, man, like from a buzz aspect, I don't have anybody asking me about this show. I don't have anybody pumped for this show.
Right? So is 200,000 fair?
Oh, God. They would pee straight up if they did 200,000. They will maybe do 150, I think.
I'm so sorry, Sean.
If lucky, they'll do 150.
And to everybody tuned in right now, I'm so sorry that I'm baffled by hearing this kind of stuff and numbers. Again, not that I've been detached. I just haven't really paid attention because I know what Canada meant to the UFC. Again, that's my bias. But what Canada meant to the UFC pay-per-view buy market. And it's heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, and to the point where it's disgusting to hear this kind of stuff, in my opinion, because back then we were looking at 750,000. 500,000 was a bad buy rate. A bad buy rate back in the day. So
what was?
500,000.
Okay. So on the prelims, we do have the aforementioned Shorty Torres against Alex Perez. That's one of the more high-profile prelim fights. Alex Perez, 20-4, and you've got Shorty Torres, who is such an emerging prospect. Perez has won 2 fights in the UFC. He won on Contender Series last August. So he's trying to make it 4 wins under that UFC umbrella in a year, but nobody's talking about him. Nobody's talking about him. Who do you think takes this one? I know you're a little partial to Shorty.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick against Shorty. I cannot, under any circumstances, pick against Shorty. I just think as long as he realizes you're allowed to punch first,
yeah,
he'd win this fight. Stop taking a bunch to realize, oh, I'm in a fight. Let's fight.
He told Fightful that that's just the way his fights always go. He gets beat up a little bit and comes back. You also have Bethe Correia against Irene Aldana, neither of which have had stellar UFC runs despite Bethe Correia's initial run. She has won 1 of her last 5 fights. We have not seen Bethe Correia since she got her head kicked off by Holly Holm last June. She took some time. Meanwhile, Irene Aldana picked up her first UFC win in January. She was a pretty highly touted prospect, and both kind of built their careers off of beating horsewomen. And in Aldana's case, she went through Invicta and had some really great fights. The Peggy Morgan fight was awesome. The Colleen Schneider fight, awesome. I think she lost to Evinger for the bantamweight title, and she had a great fight against Faith in September 2016. I think she's going to get it done because Bethe Correia just isn't that good.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with the latter part of your statement, but she's just so fun to watch. You talk about somebody who operates in a different frequency. My goodness. I think you're right. Aldana takes this fight, but Bethe Correia is just fun to watch. I'm sorry. Everything about her interviews are amazing. Lead-ups are fantastic. She's just hilarious. But she's won fights, man. Like, yeah. I wouldn't want to stand toe-to-toe with her and spar.
Brett Johns against Pedro Munoz. Brett Johns has won 3 of 4, but dropped his last fight. He had that 30-second calf slicer against Joe Soto. Pedro Munoz won 4 of his last 5, but dropped his last fight via split decision to John Dodson. Munoz is the kind of guy who's going to put on an entertaining fight. He's got 3 performance of the night bonuses. Yep. Brett Johns on the ground, obviously we've seen some of his successes there. This is an under-the-radar fight that I am excited about, and I do want to see. John's only 26 years old. Pedro Munoz a little bit more weathered. He ran into Jimmy Rivera. I want to say not too early in his UFC career, but a lot of people were writing off Pedro Munoz early on as just hype because, he failed the test for testosterone in 2014. He got beat by a Sun Tzu, and that was not an easy fight for them to bring him in on, was a Sun Tzu. Then he got Jimmy Rivera too. So in his first 4 fights, he only had like 1 win, but he'd reeled off quite the winning streak between 2015 and 2017, looking to get back on the right track. I think he gets it done, but man, Brett Johns is pretty good.
Brett Johns is fantastic. The thing is, though, wherever this fight goes, both of these guys are more than skilled in performing, more than skilled in finishing. But Munoz, I think, has the edge. I mean, the guy is like a -270 on some sites, right? So the odds maker is opening this up, and that I haven't seen whether the line has moved too much. If you give me 1 second, Sean, it actually opened at -155 and shot down way lower. So he opened up as a slight favorite to a pretty significant favorite very, very quickly. So people drove that money down.
I know people want I got 5 on it. When you got a +380, even a scrub like Buren, I'm putting 5 on it. Henry Cejudo +400. He ain't winning, but I got 5 on it.
Well, that's when you put 5 on it. Anything can happen.
Bethe Correia at +255. She may be trash, but I got 5 on it. How about this one? Cub Swanson.
I was just going to say.
+310. I got 5 on that.
You may not have 5 on that. You may put 10 on that.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, Moicano's good, but we saw what he Ortega came back and beat him. He can get a little absent-minded at times. And to me, winning split decisions over Tukagov and Stevenson doesn't put him in the territory of +3 something for Swanson. My God, that fight's going to be a good one. But you know what? I might go one step above. I might give this fight to Swanson. I think Swanson might make this one his.
That one, Renato Moicano opened up at -165. That thing shot down at one point to -470. Holy smokes! Yeah,
man. I think that Swanson, despite his recent streak, and this has happened to him before. He reaches career highs, then he gets beaten a couple times, and then he comes right back and goes on a hot streak. He's not the kind of guy that wins a lot of like knockout of the night, submission of the night, but he's the type of guy that will drag you to a fight of the night.
Yeah.
If you're going to beat him, he's going to make you earn it. Ask Brian Ortega. I mean, he's gotten fights of the nights against Takaya, against John Frankie, against he's been doing this since the WEC days, and he's still doing it. Artem Lobov, Doo Ho Choi, Brian Ortega. He'll drag you there, and I think he's going to do that against Moicano.
I can't see Cub Swanson. Sorry, I shouldn't say I can't see Cub Swanson not winning this fight because he's not the Cub Swanson of back in the day. But hot damn, +310.
That's wild to me.
Yeah, it's fights like this, it's odds like this that I often question my own analytical ability to say to myself, what am I missing? What did I miss here? What do these guys or all of these people know that I don't know to look at the massive separation between the odds in this fight? And the worst thing that could happen to me is that it actually, Moicano wins via knockout within 2.5 minutes. Or submission within 2.5 minutes, because you really look and you think, holy Jesus, what did I miss?
I mean, to be fair, that line maybe pushed it in my mind. I'm like, okay, maybe Swanson can. This is real. This is some deep underdog stuff.
Yeah.
And Moicano's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And even he was beating the brakes off of Brian Ortega. But I mean, man, I don't know. I think that Swanson's going to surprise some people here. I really think that he will. Also on this show, JJ Aldrich, Polyana Viana. They want JJ Aldrich to do so well. They really do. And I know that
it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. How do you see this one going?
I think Polyana pulls this off.
Me too.
Yeah, Lord love Aldrich, but kind of.
Kevin Holland's got a real nice opportunity. He's going to fight Thiago Santos. Santos has won 4 of his last 5. All of his fights, except Elias, of course, against Elias and Uriah Hall. They all get finished, those 2 guys.
Yeah.
And everything he did on Tough, which is kind of funny. He is a very exciting fighter, an outstanding fighter.
Always fun to watch.
Yeah, Kevin Holland is a pretty big underdog, too. How do you think this one goes?
I think Thiago Santos emerges victorious. I think you mentioned 2 guys that'll stifle anyone's style. Although Uriah is kind of still upset about his last fight, but not overly upset because it was a great fight. I think Thiago, I'm not saying he's going to bully Kevin Holland, but I think he'll control the pace to the point where Holland may make that mistake, and then boom, Santos just capitalizes.
So this would be a big win for Dana White's Contender Series because that's where Holland's from, obviously, and they would love to have that success story to tell on future episodes of Dana White's Contender Series. Don't think it's going to happen, though.
No. Why? Are you putting 5 on it? Because I wouldn't.
No, no, not at all.
Okay.
Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Henry Cejudo. I think the question is going to be how much has Henry Cejudo's striking improved? Because based on what I saw, to be honest with you, I don't think his wrestling will ever be better than when it was near the Olympics. And what happened was Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson initiated a clinch on a Olympic medalist. He got taken down. And then he launched Cejudo in the air and said, nah, son. I don't know what he could have learned since then that could make that better, Joe. I don't know that it's going to improve. So if I'm Cejudo, I'm hoping that I'm the faster fighter. I'm hoping I'm the more accurate striker. I'm hoping I'm the more powerful striker, which he has shown some shades of. He has shown some indication. Like his striking has gotten so much better. But Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson is the best MMA fighter I have ever seen in my entire life. I don't think he's getting the win. He being Cejudo.
Of the three intangibles you just mentioned, the latter is the most important for Cejudo. He is the more powerful puncher, in my opinion. Now, do I have one of those punching machines to prove my theory? No, I just think that Cejudo packs a bit more power behind his punches. He's just not as precise as Demetrius, and Demetrius is just absolutely, perfection when it comes to mixed martial arts. And Demetrius can do anything and anything he wants, whenever he wants, generally however he wants. I don't think he'll be overlooking Cejudo. I think, Matt Hume and the team will sit there and dissect anything and everything that they can get their hands on when it comes to Cejudo's mixed martial arts skill set. I just think that Demetrius is just on another level still. These guys are the same age. Am I saying Cejudo has no chance? I would never say that. I think Cejudo has every opportunity possible to win this fight. He can land that perfect punch, stun Demetrius, and I'm not saying he's got a puncher's chance. He's got more than a puncher's chance. I'm simply saying if he lands one of those punches and Demetrius is in trouble, and Demetrius has been caught before with some bad punches, he just has the ability to recover so quickly that, and don't kid yourself, if Cejudo is able to get the takedown and control Mighty Mouse, which is extremely difficult to do on the ground, if he's able to do that, he could win a Maul and Brawl fight. He could win a decision, right? I just think Demetrius is just simply too good, too incredible, too amazing, but you never know when it comes to MMA. That's my one caveat. But number two, I think not only does DJ win, I think he gets on the microphone and potentially says, TJ Dillashaw, I hope you win after me so I can fight you in a couple months.
In my head, I just assumed that Mighty Mouse was the main event because he is the greatest fighter of all time, but he's not. By the way, my official 3, I got 5 on it. Buren, Cejudo, just in case, and Swanson. Just in case. TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt. I've said this many, many times, and this is a pick'em in the odds. Cody Garbrandt did not deserve a rematch. In no way, no shape or form did he deserve a rematch. Marlon Moraes or Jimmy Rivera should have gotten this shot. I do not give a shit how much Cody Garbrandt was winning the fight before he got knocked out, because he got knocked out. He lost the fight in November of 2017. He never defended it. In fact, it was, I think, 10, 11 months before he even defended his title in the first place. So you get a 10, 11-month gap there. Then another, what is this? This will be 9-month gap before he gets his immediate rematch. The first rematch or the first defense of this title for Dillashaw didn't beat anybody. I don't think he deserved it. One win. That's all you got to take. That's all you need. One win. And
on the flip side, people might say, well, why does Sean say that Joanna Jędrzejczyk deserved a rematch with Thug Rose? Well,
she defended the title like 5 times, 5, 6 times.
Right? So people are probably thinking, why isn't Shodan attacking him on that? Well, because he's got a point. What's the point of attacking a point? So Cody Garbrandt, in my opinion, doesn't deserve this title shot. I see why the UFC would do it. Now, let's not forget for a second, Sean, okay, that the UFC is sort of potentially in a position to say, holy smokes, what's going to get us more buy rates? This or TJ versus Marlon Moraes? TJ versus, what's his name? The Brazilian guy that I absolutely love. Oh, my God. He just won.
I don't know.
Oh, hold on a sec. I just drew a blank because I'm staring at your mug on my screen.
Well, either way, as far as the technical breakdown, which I'll get into while we do this, I mean, we have seen Cody Garbrandt.
Assunção.
Assunção.
Okay, so
Garbrandt can get the technical advantage on Dillashaw. And to be honest with you, Cruz, and Dillashaw are just three of the most outstanding technical fighters with footwork and boxing and implementing kicks and not implementing kicks when it's right. It truly is a pick 'em. But man, I'll tell you what I don't want. I don't want a rubber match. Unless this is the greatest fight in bantamweight history, I don't want a rubber match.
Yeah, well, that's what they're cruising for. No pun intended to Dominic, but that's what they're looking to potentially do, because from a business perspective, you sit down and, again, people continually forget that this is not, the UFC is not a sport, guys. It's a business. So you need to do what's right to make money. Where is the money fight in this division? And right now, this is it. Although you could throw Cruz into that mix. It's unfortunate, but that's what's probably going to happen. You just, again, we don't know. But at this moment here, I think Dillashaw versus Demetrius Johnson was the fight to make.
On this show?
Yeah.
How can you put these two on the same show and not do that? And then, you know what?
Because they're going to promote it. They're going to promote it.
Underneath, you have Henry Cejudo. Underneath, you have Cody Garbrandt. And you have 3 fights right there that people are talking about.
Yeah.
And then you support that with Cub Swanson and Moicano. And then you got to throw some big boys on the show. You got to throw some light heavyweights or good heavyweight fight on the show. And they tried. But Alexander Gustafsson doesn't show up to fight ever. Yeah. So
it is questionable, but we're not in those meetings. And at the same time, again, this goes back to my theory. There's way too many fighters, and it's all because they've got to provide content. I also got word this weekend while I was down in Japan that when it comes to the ESPN stuff, to not be surprised whatsoever that this model of main card, prelim, internet, or like, Fight Pass, prelim, whatever you want to call it, continues. I thought they may be shrinking the roster and doing different things with ESPN. I was told don't even think that. They're probably going to continue with this. Again, we don't know, Sean, until it actually happens and that ESPN deal comes closer. We're only in July. Bad Boy starts in January. So, if they were to shave off this roster, I argue to say, I'm not saying take away jobs from fighters. I'm not saying that. I'm saying from a business perspective, you cut this roster in half, we get better fights.
True. Well, guys, you all will get a good fight breakdown on Saturday night. James Lynch will be stepping up for me doing the post show. Of course, he has the MMA Industry Podcast. If you're watching this, there will not be an audio version of the show this week. It was a mess. I will get it sorted out. Follow Joe at Showdown Joe. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. But visit FightfulMMA.com. Click that exclusives tab. We got lots of stuff. Until next time, we are out.